So now it's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker today. Zet Baer is the co-founder of Celebration Circle. She's been doing this for 30 years like nobody else can do it. She's, I don't have enough accolades, she's a wonderful human being. She's a personal friend. I love her. We all love her. Circle would not be the same without her. So, Zet Baer.
Thank you, Casey. I'm not going to go as deep as Chris into the secret of the universe today. I'm just going to share some real practical things that have been running in my mind and through me with you today. So I hope it works for you. As these last several years have been challenging, I think, for all of us. And for me in particular, I want to just talk a moment about, 4 years ago this week, Rudy and I and his father and girlfriend were in a pretty devastating car wreck that left me with some, physical, mental, spiritual, all kinds of issues I had with, kind of crossing over to the other side and fracturing parts of my body. And so it's been this ongoing learning for me about how to take care of myself. And it's things I'm still learning today that kind of got activated then. And then with the coronavirus and the quarantine, that brought, all of its many issues to each of us, where we had to kind of reinvent our lives, right? We had to find out who we were in a different way socially and personally. And, the extroverts and the introverts, one loved it, one hated it. We've been all over the map with it. And so as we reinvented our new way of being in the world, of being in relationship, we've gone through that kind of here in the circle as a community as well. And this second Sunday series that we're doing is our kind of way to kind of put our toe back in the water and see what it feels like and what it is to come back together in person. So thank you for being here, and thank you to those people who have been staying connected online, because that was a whole nother learning curve that I got to experience of figuring out what it meant to be online as a community. And I want to thank Alexis for being our digital go-to person. Yeah, so she's definitely kept us digitally informed. But as often is the case with all the trials and the tribulations and the tests that life gives us and puts us through, we also have many opportunities and many gifts that come with those. So this morning I just want to spend a little bit of time focusing on how this time has taught me to better take care of myself. And I'm talking about the self with the capital S, as well as the self with the lowercase s. Because it's very important, I think, and feel to honor and nurture both of those within ourselves. And probably nothing that I'm going to say today is anything new that you haven't heard, but I'm just going to try and condense a few things that have worked for me, and hopefully they'll ring true for you. So what I've come to learn is that self-love equals self-care, and that's sort of the focus for today. That it's not enough to change my beliefs, to have positive thoughts, to say those words to myself, but it's also about feeling it deeply and connecting with, with that part of me that has boundaries and has a capacity for taking care of this body temple. And so these past few years have given me a chance to see that, as all the while I've, was a good mom raising our son for 20 plus years, Mateo, sending him off into the world, and grateful that he's out in the world doing his own thing. And being a good spouse to Rudy for 40 years, and then being as good as I can be director of the Celebration Circle, while running, having this other professional career. And I'm not complaining, but what happened was that I put myself last. There was the to-do list, and all the other things were so much more important. And I think many of you can relate to that. I see some nodding heads. So I'm proud of what I've done, grateful for all the experiences that I've had. But there are some practices that just help ground me and anchor me. And so I'm going to offer a few of those this morning. And first one is, speaking of digital world, is to disconnect periodically, is to just, let go of the social media and the news and all the digital distractions, and take the time for yourself, for those around you, your loved ones, to just be there and be in that bubble instead of that other thing that we tend to, be on and in. For me, I found that having just a practice that works for me, that involves breath and chanting, is something that brings me back to myself with a capital S. And it's giving myself the time for that, because all those other things are so important. But remembering that I deserve to have that time, and you deserve to have that time to breathe consciously and mindfully. And if you haven't read it yet, there is an amazing book out that I put on our Circle Friends page. It's a group, not a page. So if you're not on the Circle Friends group, go in and sign up to be on that, because it's a little more personal and intimate, and we all share things that we're doing and loving, and we hope you'll join us there. But there's a book called Breath, simple title, by James Nestor. Some of you have read it, and it is, as Deirdre said, it's mind-blowing, and it goes through all of the many multiple breathing techniques throughout the centuries that people have used, and so I highly recommend it. I'm not gonna, but take a breath, breathe, remember, connect with yourself, and disconnect from all of the technology. And then second is eat food that is good for your body temple. You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat. So remember that, and give yourself those, wonderful fruits and vegetables that are so nourishing for your body. And if you can, go local and organic, because that's even better for you. Drink lots of water. And, I start my day with a big glass of water, and it's kind of what gets me up and going. And you've heard the 8x8 rule, which is you drink 8-ounce glasses of water every day. So that's a good goal if you're not there to work towards that. And having, our body is, I forget what percentage, somebody knows, water that we are. So you've got to keep that, keep yourself saturated. And then move your body. And whatever that means for you, take care of your body temple by giving it attention. It can be as simple as a stretch or a walk. It can be a little dance or a shake or a run or a bike ride or whatever feels right for you. I'm grateful that I have dogs that make me get outside and, actually move my body. And then I have a Nia practice that, if you don't know about that, it happens at Synergy Studio. I know some of you have practiced as well. which is a form of martial arts and yoga and Tai Chi and Duncan dance and Alexander technique and all these modalities that are combined into a kind of a moving dance form, barefoot on a great wooden floor, to wonderful music. So, there's opportunities out there for you to connect online and in person with people who can help guide us in forms of movement. As we say in Nia, you move it or you lose it. So keep that in mind. And then there's getting plenty of sleep. And period. I mean, that's it. It's you know how much it is that you need. I found out for myself that I need 8 hours of sleep, and 7.5 is okay, but 8 is like perfect. And I find that if I don't give myself that, because I'm doing all those other more important things, that I feel it, and I'm not quite myself when I have the shorter nights. And I have to say that Rudy's up at the Kerrville Music Festival this weekend, and he got 3 hours sleep last night because he was out at campfires all night. So when things like that happen, you just have to make up and make do and catch up as best you can. And for me, a very important thing to do is to spend time in nature. And not just, go out and be there, but to be really with nature and in nature and of nature and connecting with the earth and the sun and the sky and the moon and the frogs and the lizards and the birds and hearing and seeing and feeling it, all of that. It's something that I think in our culture we've gotten so far away from, and yet it is so important for us to make that connection on a regular basis. And so, these past 2 years have helped me realize how vital it is to go out there and connect, and to feel that this layer of skin is not the end for me, that there's this energy that's out there that I can connect to, that grounds me to Mother Earth. And so almost unconsciously, right after the pandemic, the lockdown started, I walked up. There's about a mile from our house up the San Antonio River. There's the San Juan Dam, and there's a place where it's kind of a chute where canoes can come through, and the dam juts out into the water, and there's a very flat and still place. And what happened was I just saw this image, the water reflecting the clouds and the trees kind of mirroring each other, and there was all this beautiful imagery going on. So I took a picture of it and posted it on my Facebook page, and I guess other people liked it too. So I went back the next day and the next day and the next day, and I just have kept going back and connecting. And sometimes there's a heron in the image, and sometimes there's somebody canoeing into the image, and sometimes there's, the water's rising and the flood's coming, and sometimes it's nighttime, and sunrise and sunset, and it's so I have almost 2 years now of these images that are just really bring me back to how important it is to connect with all this beautiful life that's out there in and around us all the time. So that visual image has kept me anchored and kept me grounded, and I invite you to think about what kind of simple ritual that you have or could have in your life that would connect you to the earth, to nature, that something that you might come to you right now or something that will come to you later, but to use a simple ritual that reminds you how important it is to be in nature. And speaking of simple rituals, there is the one that we start with each Sunday morning that we meet. We've been singing the same invocation since the beginning of the circle, which is, O Great Spirit, Earth, Sun, Sky, and Sea. And that is another way of connecting us as we turn and face the four directions, honoring Mother Earth. And it's an important part of what we do together, because it allows us to kind of set aside all those, the daily worries and hurries and things that are out there happening, and focus in and focus on this place here right now. This, and allows us to remember the great mystery that is everywhere, inside and all around us. So I just want to invite you to take a moment right now to just speak those words together with me. O Great Spirit, Earth, Sun, Sky, and Sea, you are inside and all around me. Yeah, simple rituals. And then there's thinking positive thoughts about yourself. And I know that's, those affirmations are a big thing these days. But if you're feeling a little irritable, a little out of sorts, just take a moment to check in, just find out kind of what's running in your head, and see where you are in the moment. And, what kind of phrases you're hearing that you're speaking to yourself, and turn those in, if it's not what you want to hear, turn those into positive thoughts about you, about yourself, about your experience. Talk to yourself like you would talk to a loved one, a small child that you love. And there is some words that are attributed to Mahatma Gandhi that I want to share with you. Keep your thoughts positive, because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive, because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive, because your behavior becomes your habits. And keep your habits positive, because your habits become your values. Keep your values positive, because your values become your destiny. So I invite you to remember that. And I invite you to forgive yourself for whatever seeming things that you are, again, running back there in the back of your head, thinking, seeing, feeling. Forgive yourself. Be gentle and kind and loving with yourself. And do that no matter what. And then give yourself the gift of time. Time to connect with your deepest self. Time to sit. Time to be. And time to tell yourself that you are loved and you are loving. And sometimes just that is enough. That reminder that we can give ourselves. And if you see someone else going through a hard time, sometimes that's a simple thing. You are loved. You are loving. And then one of my favorites is to create something every day. And whether it's drawing or writing or pasting or photographing or whatever comes to you, stacking rocks. It's a popular one around our house. Something that feeds your creative soul. And I've found recently that, because I keep thinking, I'm going to have time to get into the studio and create, and that doesn't happen. And so then, it's that thing at the bottom of the to-do list. So I just set up a little corner of the dining room table with some of my papers and images and glue and scissors and an X-Acto knife and a cutting mat. And when I have 5 minutes, I just sit down and do it. And 5 minutes sometimes is all it takes. Sometimes it's 2 minutes, but a little bit makes all the difference of just connecting with that creative force that lies within each one of us. And whatever it is for you. Haiku, I've started doing that too, and that's, Maria's shaking her head. And it's a simple thing, it's 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, and We can all do that, and that doesn't take long. And that's another way to connect. Haiku definitely connects us to the earth. So each of these kind of self-care practices has a different form, has a different effect, but each of them addresses a part of me that sometimes can feel left out or isolated or alone. And if I'm not paying attention, if I'm not taking care of myself, I can realize that this is time. This is the moment when I can touch into one of these practices. And this problem, this solution, I think, are beautifully illustrated in this short but powerful piece of, I think it's poetry, that's written by Wisława Szymborska. And the title is Parable. Some fishermen pulled a bottle from the deep, and it held a piece of paper with these words: "Somebody save me, I'm here. The ocean cast me on this desert island. I am standing on the shore waiting for help. Hurry, I'm here." The first fisherman said, "There's no date. I bet it's already too late anyway, and it could have been floating here for years." And he doesn't say where. It's not even clear which ocean, the second fisherman said. And the third fisherman said, "It's not too late or too far. The island here is everywhere." And then they all felt awkward, and no one spoke. And that's how it goes with universal truths. So you see, it's not too late, and it's not too far. It's always possible, and there's always a little bit of time to reach out, to reach in, to connect to yourself, to care for yourself with a capital S, as well as yourself, to call for that mindful attention that we all long for, that we can allow to nurture ourselves as we remember that we are one together. So I'm going to invite you here for a moment into a short meditation, and I'm hoping Ray will give us some music to bring us to the sound. And won't you take a quiet breath or two? As you open your heart, your mind, as you feel your willingness to perceive and receive the free-flowing spirit of love. Love moving through you as you right now. Bringing more and more divine love into physical manifestation as health, as well-being. And we tend to speak and sing of the divine as if it were separate from us, as if we needed to be filled from the outside. In this moment, I invite you to rest, to relax, to release any illusion of separation from Source. Be open and willing to perceive with clarity that you are already whole, complete, and filled with divine love. You are one with all of life. Breathe into that. Won't you take a moment to feel the fullness of Spirit flowing in and through this room, this gathering, the chair, the body. And to see with the eyes of your heart, to see with renewed clarity that you are connected to the all and the everything. Feel that this moment contains the potential for newness in all areas of your life. A newness of energy to bring to your home, your family, your work, your health, your body, as it affects and infects you and everyone around you with hope and faith and love. Won't you feel this truth as you rest in the silence now? And now. And now. And from this place of peace, won't you send your love out into the world? Blessing as you have been blessed. Seeing others as you have been seen. A divine spark of the sacred. Open and willing to perceive and receive the truth of our oneness today and tomorrow and all of our tomorrows. And so it is.